दीवानगी पूरा 1 साल हो गया है जब मैंने मिकी आर्थर टीम के जो हेड कोच हैं उनका इंटरव्यू किया, और उस वक़्त हमने टीम के गोल्स और क्या आगे ऑब्जेक्टिव्स हैं, पाकिस्तान टीम को ये कैसे लेके चलेंगे, उसी हवाले से जो है गुफ्तगू की थी। तो अब क्योंकि 1 साल हो गया है तो मेरे पास फिर एक दफ़ा मौका आया है कि मैं उनसे बैठ के बात करूं और डिस्कस करूं कि आगे जो है पाकिस्तान टीम को वो कैसे लेके जाएंगे, और ये पूरे साल में कौन से ऐसी जिसे कहते हैं हाइलाइट्स थी, कुछ ऐसी एरियाज थे ऑफ इम्प्रूवमेंट जिन पे जो है गौर करना होगा। सो I'd like to welcome you, Mickey, once again. Thank you so much. It's your second time on Cricket Diwangi, and it's been a year since you took over. So, you know, looking back at this entire year, at the beginning when you took over, there were certain goals and objectives that you'd set. How would you look back at the year? How would you rate the performance of the team on field overall?
Look, overall, I think we've made some significant strides. I think, you know, we came in with a real goal of lifting standards. We identified fielding, we identified the fitness levels of the team, and we set some real standards in place. And to see the guys attain those and then get ultimate success has been great, because that's almost solidified that we're on the right path. It seems a long time ago, but when I came in, the first Test series was England, which was an amazing highlight. That to go to England and draw that Test series 2-all was fantastic. We played some really good cricket, and we had fun. And it was a fit team. It was a young team. It was a vibrant team, very well led by Misbah, with obviously Yunus as the elder statesman. And to get results were fantastic. And then, you know, we subsequently had a Test series win against the West Indies. We didn't fare too well abroad in New Zealand and Australia. Those were disappointing series for us, particularly New Zealand. Australia had some highlights in it. I think of Ashad Shafiq's 100 at the Gabba, Azhar Ali's double 100 in Melbourne. I thought there was some significant highlights. And then for us as a Test team to go to the West Indies and be the first Pakistan team to win in the West Indies was fantastic. It was really nice to be part of that send-off for Misbah and Yunus.
But the way we started with our Test team, you took over, we drew the series in England, which was fantastic in those conditions against England. But thereafter, we saw certain failures in New Zealand and Australia, followed by a win in the Caribbean. What would you attribute those failures to?
I attribute those failures to, and to be honest, I felt going to those areas. New Zealand was different, and I'm not here to make any excuses. New Zealand was different. We left straight from the UAE and went straight into New Zealand, where wickets were very, very green. That tested our batsmen incredibly. What it also did was nullified our major weapon in Yasir Shah. So we were found wanting there. In Australia, I felt we batted well. You know, I thought our batting would be tough in Australia. We batted exceptionally well in Australia. I think we didn't bowl as well as we could have in Australia, and that for me was disappointing. We could never control the run rate. They always got ahead of us. The wickets didn't really assist Yasir, so we could never stop the game. So we were always under pressure, and I think that was the disappointing aspect about the Australian Test series.
But apart from the bowling, there's one area that's always been a concern for Pakistan, and that's the opening conundrum that we've had over a period of time. So we started off with Hafiz against England, and then Sami Aslam was brought in. You know, Shan Masood has also been part of the mix. Ahmed Shahzad has also been there. And then Sami Aslam was dropped after that series against Australia. So why is it that Pakistan cannot find a consistent pair? I mean, there's always chop and change, and you see one guy come in, he performs for a bit, and then he's dropped.
Yeah, look, that's one area in our Test team that we haven't got enough consistency out of. We started with Hafiz and Shan, as you said, and by the end of the England series, the 4 Test matches later, we had Sami Aslam and Azhar Ali opening the batting. So we never had that stability at the top. I think they're all good players, but we need to find an opening pair, particularly now that we go into a period where, if we move Azhar Ali back to number 3, which is a conundrum for us, for want of a word, we got Asad Shafiq at 4, Babar Azam at 5, another young batsman at 6. we need to find an opening pair that's going to be consistent for us. I do think that there's enough talent. Sami Aslam is a very, very good player. Sami Aslam will be back shortly. And he will be better for the experience that he went through. So I think of Sami Aslam at Edgbaston, where he was quite magnificent, to be honest, against England. I go back to the 90 he got in Hamilton in very trying conditions, and hung in and played very, very well. He will come back for a better all-round player for the experiences that he had.
But it's time for a short break, और break के बाद जो है हम इस discussion को जारी रखेंगे. हमारे साथ रहिएगा. Welcome back after the break, and I'm in conversation with Pakistan head coach Mickey Arthur. Personally, do you think it was disappointing for you to see that rather than our batting, it was our bowling which let us down on all these overseas tours? Because, you know, you're in Australia, you're in Melbourne, you're scoring 400, and then you let Australia score 600 runs. So, do you think that was disappointing for you personally?
Yes. To be perfectly honest, I thought as a bowling unit we'd be able to control the game more. I thought we'd be able to build pressure. Wickets in Australia when we were there were very good. They were very good. So it made your margin for error very small. What Australia did very well was they attacked Yasir Shah. So Yasir Shah becomes a holding bowler for us in the first innings, and in the second innings becomes our trump card. They never ever let Yasir Shah settle, and the wickets didn't deteriorate significantly enough for Yasir to have any impact. So what it did do was it put a massive burden on our quick bowlers, who had to back up and bowl more overs than they were used to. We were never ever in Australia able to stop the game. We never got wickets up front with the new ball.
Do you think Pakistan lacks a fifth bowler to share the workload and so many other, so to speak, advantages that we all talk about having a fifth bowler in the
Yes,
side?
ideally, if we set up about our ideal test team, we'd have a fifth bowler. Now, we don't battle to find that fifth bowler when we play in the UAE and we have plenty of spinning options. What we find, the fifth bowler is a guy that can come in and bat 6 or 7, but can bowl seam up for us and bowl. As a fifth bowler, you're looking for 10 to 12 overs from him a day. We haven't got that cricketer yet, and that's somebody we're really looking for. Because you put Ben Stokes in our team, we become a significantly stronger and
But the question
more
is, do
balanced
we have
team.
somebody like Ben Stokes?
No, we don't. Not at the moment. We don't, unfortunately. So we've got to make best use of what we've got. We're having a look, and I'm very excited by Fahim Ashraf. Very excited by Amir Yamin. Hassan Talat's another one. There's a lot of guys that can bowl for us and can bat sort of 7. But again, the conundrum is, do you weaken your batting to get another bowler in, or do we back our 4 bowlers that we have with a Haris Sohail, for instance, or a Mohammad Hafiz, or somebody like that who can give us those fifth options? And that is our dilemma going forward.
And Azhar Ali, you know, we're talking about the room areas of improvement. Azhar Ali has evolved as a batsman. We've all seen over the past 1 year. He's got a double ton in Melbourne, and he's just recently at test rankings number 6 in the rankings. So what would you say? How do you think he has evolved as a batsman?
I think it's actually been one of the highlights of this year, and we started the program by talking about that, and something I haven't got onto is seeing the development of our players. And as a coach or a coaching staff, to know the amount of work that players have put in and to see them develop is the most rewarding thing you can have. Results will come and go, but players' development is uppermost in our minds. Azhar Ali has developed his game immensely through this last year. He was always known as a very good test player, but he's taken that to limits that he has never been to himself. A triple 100 in Dubai, a double 100 in Melbourne, a significant 100 in England. 100 in the West Indies. He's been prolific all around the world as us. So to see that development in him has been great. The other great thing is to see his development in one-day cricket, because he's taken himself out of his comfort zone and developed his game like we know he could develop his game. So as it's been a real success story, he plays a massive role for Pakistan cricket going forward now.
But now that the two stalwarts of the team have left, Misbah ul Haq, Yunus Khan, before I move on, because it was the last year for both of them. Yunus Khan scored 10,000 runs. Misbah led the team to various victories. How is it working for you with both of them?
Oh, it was fantastic. I've been privileged enough during my career to work with some of the great players, and Misbah and Yunus are right up there. To work with them through the last year has certainly been a privilege. It's been an honour to have spent and shared a dressing room with those two guys. They are such great examples for young players to follow, morally, work ethic-wise, value-wise. They have been outstanding, and I count myself privileged to have been able to work with the two of them through the last year.
And obviously we're going forward with the Test team. They've both left a huge void, that middle order stability that they used to provide. So you're holding a camp right now. You've got emerging players there. Is there anyone that you've spotted talent-wise who could replace the two? What do you make of Usman Salahuddin from whatever you've seen so far?
Usman Salahuddin toured with us in the West Indies, and he impressed me. He impressed me with the way he trained. He impressed me with his determination, but also his will to become a better player every day. And most importantly, I think he has the technique to be able to succeed at Test level. So that's quite exciting. Haris Sohail gives us a left-hand option if we want to go that way. He also gives us the left arm spin. So we've got some nice dilemmas.
Are the doors still open for somebody like, say, Salman Butt?
Yeah, but that's an interesting question, and that's one I can't answer for you right now. That decision needs to be taken at a higher level. What I do know is Salman Butt's training extremely hard, and when I watch him bat over the last week and in the last couple of months, he looks a very organised and very good player. But I can't comment on whether he can be selected or not. That will be a decision that needs to be taken above our heads.
Got quite a few options, and we'll have to wait and watch who actually makes it to the final cut. It's time for a short break, और break के बाद हम इस गुफ्तगू को जारी रखेंगे, इसलिए हमारे साथ रहिएगा. Welcome back after the break, and I'm in conversation with the Pakistani team head coach Mickey Arthur. Mickey, we've spoken a lot about the Test team. The ODI team, if we look back at their journey, it can be quite a story.
Yes,
what started off with a 4-1 drubbing against England ended up with us lifting the Champions Trophy against India in the finals. Tell us a little about your experience.
All I can say is it's been a very rewarding and stimulating journey. It's been unbelievable. And I think this must all be taken in the context that we've probably lost our most influential one-day batsman after the West Indies series in Sajil Khan, or after the Australian series in Sajil. So he was the one guy that could give us that significant difference in terms of batting by taking on the opposition. We suddenly lost him, but we find Fakhar Zaman. He comes in. So our brand has continually grown. We've seen the development in one-day cricket this year of Azhar Ali at the top of the order, particularly in the Champions Trophy. Mohammad Hafiz's game has developed. Shoaib Malik has taken his game to another level. Babar Azam has just gone from strength to strength. So from where we were, ODI 1, I'll never forget, in Hampshire, in Southampton against England, to where we find ourselves now as a one-day team is a vast difference, and we have made great strides and big improvements in all departments through the year.
You're talking about Mohammad Hafiz, and he played an extremely important part in that final against India. But I often get asked by so many people, and a lot of people have this question actually, that why doesn't he always play the way he did in the finals? And do you think that batting position is actually right for him? Or where do you see him in the setup looking ahead to the, say, 2019
Well, I see
World Cup?
Mohammad Hafiz right where he is at the moment. One mustn't forget that Mohammad Hafiz gives us overs. So that's quite significant in the overall scheme of things. But as an out-and-out batsman, he was and has been in the top 10 in world cricket at times. Technically, he's very good. I've found that he
But often criticized for playing too slow.
Yes, and I've seen all that criticism. And one can go back to perhaps the West Indies series where game 1 he got a very good 80, but was probably a little bit too slow. We had a really good conversation after that. Mohammad Hafiz's innings in the third one-day international was inspirational. It was very, very good. He struck at an acceptable strike rate, and since then he has continued to keep working at his game. And it's been great to see him at the age he is know that if he wants to continue playing in the one-day side, he needs to change, and he's embraced it and done it, which is a credit to him. And like him, so many other players have done that because they want to make Pakistan the best they can be, and they want to know that the brand of cricket we're playing is right. So for us to go and win the Champions Trophy by looking to attack, looking to take the innings on when we batted, knowing that on good wickets we've got to be scoring 300 plus, and then looking to attack with the ball. So Safi was outstanding there. We held slips for longer. We were the most consistent bowling team between overs 10 and 40 because we looked to take wickets.
A lot of faith was shown in Wahab Riaz. Over a period of the last year, if we look at his numbers or whatever, do you think that he has actually lived up to the expectation? Because after the game against India in the group match, there was a lot of criticism over his performance. He went back due to an injury. But do you think he's a case of misplaced faith by the management, or do you think that he deserved the run that he did?
Yeah, interesting question. To get the first part of the question out the way, Wahab Riaz is a quality bowler. He offers us pace, he offers us reverse swing when he's bowling well. Now Wahab Riaz would be the first to admit that his last year hasn't been his best year in international cricket. But he's worked extremely hard to keep himself fit, to keep himself on the park, to give us the option of the role that he does, and that's to provide us with pace, and when the ball reverse swing, to give us some reverse swing at the end. He has not had a good year, Wahab, and he knows that. He will bounce back. He's a quality bowler. He will be in our mix. He's in the big pool of bowlers, and then it's up to him as to how he performs and how he moves on. I take complete responsibility for the selection against India. I went for a safety first selection for game 1 of the Champions Trophy. I thought Wahab was bowling very well enough to warrant a place in that team based on an attack where we were looking for variation. And he didn't come to the party, so that was my fault.
But do you think that it was a case of not having enough faith in somebody like Junaid? Because in Australia he was opening with Amer, and then we've seen Wahab struggle in the one-day team, but all of a sudden we see that Wahab is being backed instead of Junaid. So what were the reasons?
So the reasons were quite simply that we felt we had Amir and Junaid that were pretty similar in a bowling unit. We wanted something different. They both, Amir and Junaid, both left arm, both swing it, both offer us a little bit of reverse. But we thought that if for game 1 we wanted the extra pace. We thought that Wahab would provide us with that extra pace in game 1. It didn't work out. It didn't work out that way, and some things work and some things don't. That didn't work at that particular time. So we moved on, found the right combinations eventually, and bowled extremely well through the competition.
Talking about combinations, I think the most essential part of those combinations were the youngsters that showed up for Pakistan. So when you look at somebody like Hassan Ali, Shadab Khan, Fakhar Zaman, how do you evaluate their growth over the past 1 year?
I'm so excited by the growth, and that's the thing that inspires me the most. Is in this job is to see how our youngsters have come in and embraced international cricket. Babar Azam came into the team in all formats right at the start of my tenure. To see him play the way he has been fantastic. Fakhar Zaman came in and took his opportunity very well. I think though the beacon for our year is Hassan Ali. When I think of Hassan Ali arriving in England in the one-day series as a beanpole, not a lot of meat on him.
Bulked up now.
Yeah, but a good bowler, but he needed refining. He had pace, but he needed to refine. He had skill, but he also needed to refine that. So to see him develop over the last year has been significantly rewarding. He's bulked up. He's fit, he's strong, his skill levels have got better and better. And he is, I guess, the example that we can use of the last year of our tenure. He's the modern day cricketer, and he's a guy that encompasses everything we want in a cricketer going forward.
You must have had your heart in your mouth when Azhar Ali dropped that catch of Kohli. I need to ask you that.
Yeah, I did.
We saw the television at that point and the reactions.
I think, and Mohammad Amir had bowled over the last year, had bowled consistently well for not a hell of a lot of reward. Now I think Mohammad Amir is a big match player. I think when the bigger the game, the more we get performance out of Mohammad Amir. We knew we had to blow their top order away, and we had a guy that could do it in Mohammad Amir, and he bowled the perfect ball to Rohit Sharma, and then he gets the nick to Virat, and it gets dropped, and we know that is a significant that's a significant part of the game, because Virat can go and take the game away from us, and then obviously to get him out next ball was fantastic. And Mohammad Amir, after us getting 340, effectively ended the game almost for India by getting 3 wickets.
And last, when I spoke to you when we did Cricket Diwangi last year, there was a lot of emphasis by you on fitness. There was a certain benchmark that you had set for all the players. How do you think the fitness has evolved? How do you think the fitness has improved in this 1 year?
The fitness has improved drastically, and that's evident by data. So we've got data and figures to show us how much it's actually improved. So it's clear that it has. Every player has got better and better. But the reasons for that, and we had a really tough conditioning session with the boys today, and I said to them, it's to make them aware that we're doing this with a plan. And the plan is it makes you concentrate for longer, it makes us be able to run harder between wickets, it makes us want to push boundary fielders more often, we're quicker, but also we feel better. And that's clearly been seen. You know, we started the one-day series in Australia 30 runs behind Australia in terms of the way they ran between wickets, the way they fielded, and we needed to close that gap significantly, and we've closed that gap significantly.
There's still a long way to go.
Yeah, we've by no means a finished article. We've got a massive amount of work to do, but we're getting better in that regard.
What's your take on that Umar Akmal controversy that happened? I mean, he passes the test at NCAA and then goes to England and fails.
Well, I can only sit here and talk about what I saw, and Umar Akmal missed a tour of the West Indies because of the fact that he was unfit and didn't meet the standards. Despite the fact that we gave him 5 opportunities to meet those standards, he didn't meet them once. We then go away to the West Indies and we select for Champions Trophy. On we select him on the basis that he's passed a fitness test at the NCA, which happened, and he then arrived in England, and we did our mandatory fitness tests. It's never a witch hunt. We do those fitness tests once every 3 weeks to check on where our players are, to check their workloads, to check their maintenance, etc. And he failed again drastically. We then gave him another chance, and he failed again then drastically. I would have thought a player, after missing a tour, would have made sure that never ever happened to him again. I would have thought that if he had the hunger, the desire, and the passion to play for his country, and he was professional in what he did, he would go away and work so hard on it that he never ever put himself in that position again. And that for me was the most disappointing thing, because he clearly hadn't.
Do you think that that sort of reflects a lack of communication between the management and NCA? That somebody who passes the test over here then suddenly goes to England and fails. Do you think that there is a lack of communication, or do you think that there's a lot of harmony that exists?
No, there's certainly a lot of harmony that exists. For me to sit here and say it's completely perfect would be a lie. But there's a lot of harmony that exists. We communicate consistently with Enzimam, we communicate a lot with Mudasa and Mushi, because those guys are our eyes and ears when we're not in Pakistan. Those guys are working with our fringe players and players that could join the tour at any given time, and we need to know what's happening. We trust them here to do a great job, and they do. They do a very, very good job. Similarly, we know that when they pass those players on to us, they're ready to go. So it allows us to work with them only on their skills, knowing that the other stuff is taken care of, the fitness, the whatever. So we work very, very closely together.
Looking back at your career, we've seen you had a very successful stint with South Africa. Then there was Australia, and there were reports of personal conflict with certain players. And you've quoted, you've often been quoted talking about the cultural differences that you've seen with the various different teams that you've worked with. How have you found Pakistan so far culturally?
I can honestly sit here, Zainab, and say that I've found the last year the best in my coaching career. And for a number of reasons, because we're dealing with a team that has so much upside to it, but it can make so much improvements. The team needs us to really grab them and pull them along, because they don't know what they can achieve. They don't know what they can achieve, and they don't believe they can achieve the heights that we know that they can get to. So that is incredibly exciting. There's going to be a lot of hard work, there's going to be a lot of sweat, there's going to be a lot of tears along the way, and there has been through the last year. But it's been stimulating, it's been exciting. And then to work with a team that represents such a passionate country has been amazing. It's something that I've never experienced before. And I look at that England tour. Wherever we are, we see green flags and people that are so interested and keen and almost fanatical about what the cricket team's doing. It adds extra pressure, but again, so stimulating. Culturally, the Pakistan players are without a doubt, as a group, the nicest bunch of gentlemen that I've worked with. Sometimes that doesn't always work in international cricket. I'd love to see them get tougher, harder, take the game on and push that line a little bit more. But we're working on that. As individuals and people, they're very humble, good morals, great values, and have been an absolute pleasure to work with.
Are you happy with your role in the selection of the team? Because we've seen in the past coaches of Pakistan, ex-coaches of Pakistan have often complained about that they don't have enough say or have enough control. How do you see that?
I can only talk very positively about my experience. Enzimam runs a very good ship. I think we've got some very, very good selectors in place, and I am included in every discussion they have. I feel very included in their selection process, which I think for me is really nice. You know, and I think we have to sit back and applaud the selectors over this last year, because we've seen some young players. I mean, we haven't even mentioned Shadab Khan. Yeah. Shadab, Fahim, Ashraf, who the selectors took gambles with before the West Indies tour. And they have become trump cards for us. Fakhar Zaman. And that's a testimony to the selectors, identifying them and asking our opinions and then picking them. So I can only say that I've had very positive experiences with this selection panel.
We hope that this positivity lasts till the time you are with Pakistan. But it's time for a short break, and after this break, जितने भी आगे हमने डिस्कशन करनी है, कुछ और बातें हैं वो करनी है, वो हम करेंगे, इसलिए कहीं ना जाइएगा. वेलकम बैक आफ्टर द ब्रेक. और ब्रेक से पहले हम मिकी आथर से गुफ्तगू कर रहे थे, बहुत सी बातें कर रहे थे पाकिस्तान की टीम के ऊपर, जो है जो परफॉर्मेंस इस एक साल में हुई है उसके ऊपर एवेल्यूएट कर रहे थे. मिकी, इन द पास्ट वी हैव सीन दैट सर्टेन एक्स कोचेस ऑफ पाकिस्तान, दे हैव स्पोकन अबाउट हाउ हॉस्टाइल द पाकिस्तान मीडिया हैज़ बीन. हाउ हैज़ योर एक्सपीरियंस बीन विद देम?
Fantastic. No, look, the expectation is high in this country. The media is consistently on your back. I think it's great that I don't understand Urdu, so I don't read any of the Urdu papers, or obviously because I can't, although I am getting better at Urdu. But it comes with the job, it comes with the territory. The only thing I don't like, to be totally honest, is when we play badly, I've got no issue that we criticised. India, first game, Champions Trophy, no issue that we criticised, because we were poor. When we play well, it's nice to get the credit, or the team get the credit, but to be reported on positively. The thing that bugs me, though, is when stories get fabricated.
Yeah.
So we've seen so many different stories.
That happens a lot.
Yeah, Sami Azam, chicken karai, Mohammed Amir faking injuries. There's so many of it.
And your support staff, how much of a help have they been in this past 1 year? You know, you've got Luden, Rickson, Azhar Mahmood. What has their contribution been?
I think certainly in this role, it is so important to have a support staff that you can trust, and a support staff that are very good at their jobs. My promise, and I think I said it on your show last year, was we wanted players to be the best in their positions in the world. I certainly want the support staff to be the best support staff going around in world cricket, because that's what we need to be offering the players, and that's how we need to be servicing them. And the contribution that every one of them have made in their own little areas has been fantastic. Their work ethic and work rate and passion for Pakistan is second to none. So I couldn't be more happier with the input that those guys have given.
There have been reports, though, that Grant Flower, he wants to bring Andy Flower in this setup as part of the coaching staff. Is there any truth to it?
No, absolutely no truth in that whatsoever. And there again, it just sums up my point about the media, just making up a story. No, absolutely not. And
well, we're hearing it from the horse's mouth, so it's fine.
Yeah, exactly right.
At least for the time being, there's no cricket at the moment, but there's been a lot of news about the World 11 touring Pakistan. What are your thoughts with regards to that? We've seen the PSL final happen in Pakistan, and now the World 11, although there's no confirmation, but if it does go through, how much of an impact is that going to have on cricket coming home?
That will have such a significant impact on cricket coming home. It really will. You know, I watch our players, and we went through a year last year where we were on the road for so many days a year away from families. Even our home series are not at home. They're away. They're away from home. To achieve what this team has achieved, playing everything away, is simply exceptional. Yeah, I think of Asad Shafiq, about 60-odd test matches. He's had 11 test hundreds, done exceptionally well. Never played in Pakistan.
Yeah.
He's never played a test match or a one-day international Pakistan. I mean, that is a travesty of justice. And I just hope this World 11 takes place, because I would certainly like to be coaching a Pakistan team that plays in Pakistan in the future.
Well, we amen to that. I hope that the World 11 does come, because it has definitely its own set of advantages, that our players will get that kind of exposure and learn so much from playing at home, like you said. Now, Mickey, I played this game with you last year. I'm sure you're aware of it. It's the rapid fire game. It's very simple, no rules as such. I'll be asking you questions and you have to give really short, quick answers, and there has to be an answer. It can't be any dodging. So you can also give an explanation as to why you chose the specific player or whatever. Okay. Most promising cricketer that you've seen in the team so far?
Babar Azam.
Best work ethic of which player?
Babar Azam.
The fittest player in the team?
Shah Masood.
One player who you think has not realized his potential yet?
Hassan Ali, because I just think he's going to get better and better and better.
The godfather of Pakistan cricket?
Musbah al Haq.
Your favorite Pakistani food?
Chicken karai.
You went with a safe bet over there. The most popular bhai in the team?
Shoaib Malik Bhai.
One thing you've loved about the Pakistan culture?
Oh, just the passion.
Speak a few words in Urdu.
Tika, Pani. Shukriya.
This is an obvious one. Most memorable moment of the year?
Champions Trophy, without a doubt.
Yeah. The best actor in the team?
Ahmed Shahzad.
The one with the best sense of humor?
Ahmed Shahzad.
The first word that comes to your mind when I say Pakistan?
Cricket.
Good. So that was actually good. You know, you gave quite prompt answers, and I'm happy with that performance. Well, parting thoughts, I had to ask you this. What are your goals now leading up to the World Cup 2019?
Well, there's so many goals. There's so many things that we have to achieve. We've got to keep bashing the door down in terms of excellence. We've got to keep producing these young players that are going to take the game forward. But if we go to specifics, it's about maintaining and getting better in terms of our one-day cricket performance, using the sort of blueprint that we use through the Champions Trophy.
Thank you so much for your time and enlightening us with all your thoughts. And we hope to have a similar review next year of how the team has performed, hopefully with more positive to discuss in comparison to this year. Program का time जो है वो ख़त्म हो गया है. हम आपको मिलेंगे some other time. अब तक के लिए इतना ही. खुदा हाफिज़.